Welcome to the Pastors in Recovery podcast. My name's John, and I'm so glad you've joined us today. Each week, we handle either a different topic to help pastors in recovery, or we have a special guest joining us sharing their story. Be sure to like and subscribe, and check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@crashinglyrics. We also have a Facebook page, Pastors in Recovery. Check that out as well. We hope that you enjoy today's broadcast. How do we live one day at a time? Living one day at a time is very, very hard, especially for people who struggle with worry about the past. You think about the future all the time. You're hard to live in the moment. It's hard to live in the day. And it's taken me a long time to come around to the place in my life where I can actually live one day at a time. I haven't always been able to do that, and I still struggle with that. What has helped me to live one day at a time is to live in the moment. And my wife has really helped me with this live in the moment thing. It was a couple months ago when she had a midwife gig in a different hospital about a couple hours away from our home. And so I went with her. I don't normally do. And I went with her, and I'm like a do it guy, can be very task oriented. God's really working in me and has worked with me the last couple of years on really putting people before the task. So I'm there with her and we're spending time together, and it was after lunch. We are sitting down. She doesn't have any laboring patients, and I'm sitting there in the doctor's office or room with her, and I'm just getting really antsy. I'm like, well, babe, I think I'm gonna go do some thrift shopping and stuff. And she's like, John, can't you just stay here and do nothing with me? And I'm thinking, how do I do nothing? How do I do nothing with you? I have no idea how to do nothing. I know how to do something, but doing nothing, that's impossible for me. So I have a therapist, and she mentioned to me, she says, do you know that doing nothing can be doing something? In other words, in your mind, make doing nothing my next task. And another time was we were at church, and I'm looking at all the crowds of people coming and going. I'm just, analyzing everything and looking at the lighting system and, the video screen, and kind of thinking about what kind of people are coming and going, what's going on in their lives. And my wife looks at me again and she says, John, can't you just enjoy the moment? Soak it all in. And it really hit me hard because I thought, you know what? Yeah, let's just soak it all in. And so the other day, I was driving in a very affluent neighborhood, and there was this guy driving probably a fairly brand new Corvette. I mean, it was just all pristine. It was in perfect shape. You could tell it was brand new. And, I'm kind of like, in my normal self, just driving a car, moving forward, driving the speed limit, maybe a little bit more. And I look at him and he's like totally steady as she goes, Star Trek, Captain Kirk, steady as she goes, 45 miles per hour, not a mile per hour more, not a mile per hour less. That's what he's doing. So I'm like, get behind him, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe I want to pass him. So I'm following along and I can't get any further. And we come to a light and he comes and stops at the light. So I pull off into the right lane and pull to the lane next to him. And I look over at him and I just realize this is not some old guy who decided to go through midlife crisis. He's a younger guy. And I thought to myself, this is amazing. I have so much to learn from this guy. Think about it. He has this amazing Corvette, beautiful, beautiful Corvette, all the power under the hood. He could go so fast. He could be weaving in and out of traffic and just blowing everyone away. But instead, he's just relaxing, enjoying the moment, enjoying the hum of his motor. And I thought, wow, that is incredible. That is amazing. And you know what, Pastor? That is what living one day at a time is kind of all about. One of the things about living one day at a time is what happens when we don't live one day at a time. Well, I want to remind you of the serenity prayer. Almost everybody knows the part that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change and the courage to change the things I can and the wisdom to know the difference. But the next part says, living one day at a time. And you know what it says after that? Not a lot of people know it, but it says, enjoying one moment at a time. Wow. Wow. Can I really enjoy one moment at a time? Yes. It changes your life. Your blood pressure goes down, the anxiety goes down. You look around, you say, I'm just going to enjoy my family. I'm just going to enjoy my wife. I'm just going to enjoy the Lord. I'm going to enjoy reading my Bible. I'm going to enjoy just this moment. I'm going to go on a hike and enjoy every moment of what I see. Yeah, seriously. You know what the serenity set prayer says? You know what the serenity prayer says right after that? It says, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking this sinful world as it is, not as I would have it. So, what does it mean to enjoy one moment at a time? Well, it means slowing down. And this is something that I'm really, really bad at. Like I had to go to the Home Depot to get a part for our toilet, and I am a man on a mission to get that thing at the toilet, for the toilet. And of course, so I get there to the place where they have the spare parts for toilets, and sure enough, there's a guy standing there talking to one of the employees, basically looking at the exact same part that I need. So I have to patiently wait. And instead of getting all irritated and everything like I have in the past, enjoying each moment in time, I'm like, yo, this guy's trying to get help. I'm just gonna listen in. Maybe I can learn something, and hey, maybe I can contribute. So they're like saying, hey, there's 2-inch ones and there's 3-inch ones, and he couldn't find a 3-inch. I go, no, there's a 3-inch right there, and that's all I contributed. And then when the guy walked away, it was my turn. Got my part, and I left. Right now, we're gonna take a little break, and when we get back, we're gonna continue our discussion on living one day at a time. Are you looking for a safe place where you can talk to other pastors with full anonymity and confidentiality? Celebrate Pastors in Recovery is just that place. In a Celebrate Recovery group, you'll be working with other pastors going through the 4 books of Celebrate Recovery Step Study series. Each pastor will be in the exact same place you're in, giving themselves wholeheartedly to this. When you join a group, you're going to know that you're going to be able to talk to other pastors who can relate through the different things that you go through in your life. I am confident by you joining a CPR group today, you will be able to find freedom from your hurts, your hang-ups, and your habits. Think about it. Where in this world can you take time to actually spend with other people where you can completely open up and share those deep things that you've never been able to share before? This is that kind of place. So I encourage you to sign up. Go to cpr.celebraterecovery.com. cpr.celebraterecovery.com. So what happens when we don't slow down? What happens when we don't live one day at a time? Well, this is what happens. We have to deal with that anxiety. We have to deal with the stress. We have to deal with those things that are going on inside our head, go inside our heart, and we're not at peace. We're not calm. And you know what? You know what the human mind does in these situations? Our brains are hardwired to have coping mechanisms. And there's good coping mechanisms and there's not so good coping mechanisms. So let's say I'm stressed out and I can't live one day at a time. I can't enjoy one moment at a time. Okay, if I have a swimming pool, I could go swimming. If it's not super hot outside, like where I live, you could go for a jog or a walk, let out that energy, let out that steam, get things moving, get that adrenaline going and your brain functioning. Well, there's bad coping mechanisms too. So the bad coping mechanisms are the addictions. Shopping, buying all these things makes you feel good, at least temporarily, right? Whether it's in a store or online, buying tech, buying stuff for your car, your truck, hunting, whatever you're into. Eating, I struggle with that. Eating ice cream, eating stuff, eating the bad stuff, that just kind of distracts you and it feels good, get that dopamine hit going. Talked about in the last podcast, there's obviously sexual addiction, pornography, that kind of stuff. But there's many, many other kinds. There's gambling, there's drugs, actual medication. You can abuse medication, and so on and so forth. So here's what it comes down to. The elephant in the room isn't an elephant at all. It's actually Jesus. I'm not calling Jesus an elephant. What I'm saying is, here's a big God waiting for us to turn to him, right? So I can start praying. I can slow down, read my Bible, and I can pray. I could get into a good devotional book that helps me grow. I can invest in my spiritual life. And we talked about lonely pastors last week. Can connect, dear brother, and ask him to pray for us. We can connect with a dear brother and say, hey man, can you pray with me? Can you spend a little bit of time with me? Can we do coffee? I've found that after I meet with my sponsor, that I walk away from there not full of anxiety and everything. I walk away from there with joy. I have found that when I spend time with the Lord, and I love to listen to worship music in my truck and pray for my family and stuff while I'm driving. When I'm done doing that, my heart is so calm and I'm so full of peace and full of the love of the Lord. I do better with interactions with people, with others, family, and so on and so forth. So what is the big takeaway from today? To live one day at a time, we need to slow down. We need to enjoy every moment that we are in. And if our anxiety is taking us over, if we're getting stressed out, if we can't stop thinking about the future, we can't stop thinking of the past, we reach out to our brothers, our friends, our accountability partners, our sponsor, spend time with them, get a little coffee. But the best thing you can do is to get alone with the Lord for a bit. Spend that time with Jesus. I know it's like the canned answer, what's the problem solver for everything? It's obviously Jesus. Well, it actually is. So once you spend that time with the Lord, you can connect with a brother. And once you've done that, maybe go for a jog, spend some time with your wife. You'll be surprised at how your mind is going to be filled with everything but what you were stressing out about. And you're going to live in that day. You're going to live in that moment and you're going to enjoy it. And you're going to look back and say, man, I want tomorrow to be like that. I'm so glad my yesterday was like that. I want to live that way today. And with that, my friends, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for joining us today in this podcast, Pastors in Recovery. And I just pray that each and every one of you guys grows and connects in some way.